Alright, let's practice some derivatives. If you take a look at these first two, there's a slight difference between this tangent of x and this, which is saying tangent times tangent of x. So this one is multiplication. We'll need to use the product rule. And this one has a tangent substituted into the tangent, so we need to use the chain rule. So for this first one in part A, the derivative would be, so the derivative of tangent is secant squared, so it's going to be secant squared, and then inside the parentheses tangent stays there. You can only do one derivative at a time. And then use the chain rule. And you should look at the chain rule as in the original problem there was tangent and then inside that tangent. So the chain rule is going to come from the derivative of tangent goes over here, that's the chain rule, and the derivative of tangent is secant squared, and this one will be secant squared of x. And then that one can't be simplified, so it's finished. On to part B. So this one is the product rule. So take the derivative of this first tangent and then leave this tangent alone. So the derivative of this first tangent is secant squared of x, and then leave the second tangent alone. And then of course the product rule has plus. Now leave the first tangent alone and take the derivative of the second tangent, secant squared. And then can it be simplified? So this has secant squared times tangent, and this one has secant squared times tangent, and it's adding those two together, so in the end there are two of them that say secant squared times tangent. And part B is finished. So this one also requires the chain rule, so the tangent function has been substituted into the e function. So for part C, to begin with, the derivative of the e function is the e function. So at first it will look exactly like the original problem. And then the chain rule says take the derivative of tangent of x, and the derivative of tangent is secant squared. And then that one's finished. Can't be simplified. And for part D, the derivative of tangent is once again secant squared. So at the beginning it's going to be secant squared of e to the x. And now the chain rule. Take the derivative of e to the x, which is e to the x. And believe it or not, that one's finished also. This one cannot be simplified. So that's it for number 45.